What's up, ladies and gentlemen, back again with another video, and today we're going to be doing a movie review on High Rise. Now, High Rise is a movie based on the 1975 novel of the same name by J.G. Ballard. The story for, the movie version was written by Amy Jump, and the film is directed by Ben Whitley. Now, we got a good cast of actors in this film. We got Tom Hiddleston as the lead. And you got more veteran actors in here like Jeremy Irons. And then you got Sienna Miller, Luke Evans, and Elisabeth Moss. Elisabeth Moss, I believe she's the one who does it's not that TV show on Hulu, The Handmaid's Tale, which I believe is also based off of a book series within itself. But that's another story for another day. Plus, I'll have to resubscribe to Hulu if I'm ever going to do an entire review on that show, and maybe the books later on if I decide to dive deeper into that. But today we're going to be taking a look at this movie right here, as Tom Hiddleston as the lead. And like I said, it's based off of the 1970s novel. The film even has a 1970s aesthetic to it. You know, like you see, it's what called Luke Evans rocking a real 1970s hairstyle. You know, I believe it was one person, one YouTuber, I believe, described it as the film has like a retro look to it, retro but futuristic at the same time. But yeah, let's get right into it by diving deep into this film starring Tom Hiddleston. Now, Tom Hiddleston plays a character named Dr. Robert Lang, and he lives in this high-rise apartment. But this ain't no regular, apartment. It's structured by, social order. And the social order is that you have the upper class living on the top floor, the middle class living on the middle floor, and the lower class living on the lower floor. So it's structured in that sort of way where, different, class groups are living on different floors. And as the movie goes on, like through the first half, you kind of get, the character development and the backstory and stuff out of the way to get to know each of the characters in the movie. And the building itself is kind of sort of its own character as well, because as the movie goes on, you don't only get to know like the characters, but you also understand the ongoing battle going on between the middle and lower class and the upper class, which leads to a conflict of the social order that's going on in the building. Now, keep in mind, this building isn't just any regular building. It has, everything you need in the building. It has, a supermarket, a gym, and all these other necessities. So it's all structured all in one place, The only time I guess you could say that you see Tom Hiddleston actually leaving the building is when he's off doing something else. But for the most part, him and all the other line of characters in the movie stay within the building itself. So within the second half of this movie, this is when it starts to, it shows a very cool, a very cool montage with Tom Hiddleston and some of the stuff that's going on through the film. And then, then after that, excuse me, then after that, the second film breaks out into pure chaos and anarchy. From there, the second half of the film takes a much darker tone, where you see a lot of chaos, a lot of violence, a lot of people looting the supermarket, and brawls and riots and stuff breaking out. And, you don't know who's going to go ahead and, kill who, per se. But everyone's kind of out for each other. There's even the scene in the movie where Tom Hiddleston's character, Dr. Lang, he's trying to get himself a thing of paint. And he ends up getting into a brawl with a guy for a thing of paint while at the store that's in the building. Because I guess in his spare time when he's not doing his job as a doctor, he likes to paint. But yeah, this film has a first act and a second act. There's not so much a middle act in this film. There's a first act and a third act, which makes me think if there was any parts of this movie that were cut out or that were missing from the film. Because like I said, after they show that montage, immediately they break out into chaos and anarchy. And then the film kind of goes into complete craziness after that. But overall, I thought it was a sort of like it's an entertaining movie. It's a slow burn. At least the first half of the film is a very slow burn. Because it just has him, going to work and going to all these different parties in the high-rise building from different, social orders, whether it's, high class, middle class per se, and then he kind of gets acquainted with all the other people around the building, which he forms different relationships with, But yeah, it really doesn't take a darker undertone until the second half of the movie, and that's when it turns into this, well, I like how it describes it right here, a apocalyptic romp. That's when it kind of takes that kind of turn in the film during the second half of the movie. But yeah, like I said, it's a slow burn the first half of the film with the character exposition and backstory, and then it takes a much darker turn during the second half. And that's when the movie really picks up after that with, the chaos, anarchy, and violence, and looting, and robbing, and, and killing, all that other stuff that goes on in the movie. Excuse me. But overall, I'd probably give this film a solid C+. I recommend it if you're into these type of movies. Especially if you're into films that have a slow burn, very slow build up. But like I said, it really picks up during the second half, and just for some reason, I feel like there's like a middle half that's like missing in the movie, because you see the chaos and anarchy breaking down, but you don't feel like you're going through it with the characters within themselves in the story. So maybe if I had a middle act to go in there along with the beginning and the end, I probably would move this up and give it a B. But it lacks in that area. That's probably the only downside of the movie. High Rise is that it lacks a middle, a middle act or a second act of the film. It has a beginning and it has an end, but it doesn't have the middle ground towards the film. But overall, like I said, the film really, breaks out into complete, chaos in the second half, and that's when everything is pretty crazy after that. But yeah, I give it a solid C+. So, have you seen High Rise with Tom Hiddleston? Have you read the book of the same name? Let me know, comment below. Did you guys like this movie? Did you like the book? Are you a fan of Tom Hiddleston in general? Let me know and comment below. And if you want to see more content like this, I got a whole catalog of movie reviews you can check out here on the channel, as well as DVD booty haul videos, YouTube vlogs, and others newest content. So if you want to see any more like that and yet to come, make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys around for next video. Have a great day now. Peace.